This is what happens after a Colombia football match at the World Cup here in Medellín and probably in other cities in Colombia as well. So picture this, it's an interesting 0-0 draw. Colombia score in the last 20 minutes. Everyone goes wild. Everyone's drinking guaros, cervecitas, maybe some wine. Everyone's having a good time basically. You're in the bar, everyone's in party mode, etc. And you know what happens after the game? Everyone needs to go home, everyone goes back to their homes, etc. People just jump in the car or moto, regardless of how much they have drunk, and they hit the road. They go home. I have to say, I saw more drunk drivers in about a 10-minute walk when I finished watching the Colombia game the other day than I've done in maybe a whole week of living in Colombia. I mean, the statistics around kind of accidents or drink driving related kind of fatalities, whatever, must go off the charts after Colombia finish their football match, because literally there's no metro. It finished maybe 11 p.m. People get out of the bar at 11:30. And so from that time, from 11:30 till, 1 a.m., it is impossible to get an Uber. I tried after the first match, after Colombia, Uzbekistan, I was with some friends and they needed to take an Uber home. So I was waiting for them to take an Uber. It was like triple the cost. You had to wait like 40 minutes for an Uber. It's almost impossible unless you're watching the game near your apartment. And so somewhere where you can kind of walk within 15 minutes walking distance of, you need to drive, right? And so, yeah, people just get in their cars. You can just tell people are kind of staggering out of the bar. They get on their moto or they hop into their car with like friends or family, whatever, hit the road. I saw one car going on 2 wheels, driving around La Frontera, around a little bend. He must have been going like 70, 80 miles an hour. It was really crazy. And I just wanted to make this video to say, if you are in Colombia and you are watching the football and you are walking home after a game, or maybe or even driving, maybe you're being a sensible driver and you're not drinking, whatever, be super careful. Wow, I almost saw 2 pedestrians get hit by a car as they were walking along. They were wearing their yellow camisetas, their Colombia football tops. They're just walking along, minding their own business after the game, and basically a drunk driver almost hit them as they're driving along. So you need to be super careful when you're walking home after a Colombia football game, because yeah, there's no regulation, there's no police. I didn't see any police cars, no police motos, no kind of policing of this. There's no kind of bouncers in the place I was in Envigado. There's almost like complete free-for-all, whereby regardless of how much you've drunk, you could just hop in your car and drive home. And you guys know the deal in Colombia. People rarely get pulled over anyway for speeding, for not driving with the right papers, etc. Rarely seen that happen here in Medellín. And so granted, at 1 a.m, there was definitely no kind of presence of authority whatsoever when it came to kind of enforcing a no drink driving policy. And it was pretty mental. I mean, I'm sure this happens in other countries as well. It's not just a Colombia specific problem, but Colombians love drinking. They love their football. They go wild in football matches. I mean, the England game was a really boring 0-0 draw, granted, yes, but the Colombia game was 0-0 as well. And there was just so much more activity going on in this bar with Colombians. Obviously, I am in Colombia, so it's going to be a little bit different, but even in Box Park in Wembley, that game would not have been kicking off, but yet it was here. And so you guys let me know, is this a Medellín specific thing, or is it just absolutely crazy like that in other cities like Bogota, maybe Barranquilla, Cali, places like this? Because here on Colombia football match night at the World Cup, the city basically shuts down. It's like no traffic before the game or during the game, and afterwards it's just absolute hell. And I almost saw a lot of accidents happen. And if that's just my experience, I'm sure there are a lot of accidents the other night after Colombia played. So yeah, be careful. You wouldn't want to have a great night watching Colombia play. You're taking guaros, you're practicing your Spanish, you're getting immersed in the culture. You maybe even bought a Colombia football top. You're just walking home and you just happen to get hit by a drunk driver. I will say this though, where all possible, watch the game. This is a little tip. Watch the game somewhere where you can walk home from. So for me, for example, it was like a 15-minute walk where I was watching the game in Barrio Sur in Envigado. So it was perfect. I didn't need to take an Uber. I didn't need to drive in a car. I could just walk home after the game, nice and safe. Well, kind of sort of safe. I wasn't actually on the road. I was on the pavement, but I could have been hit by a drunk driver. You never know. Like those 2 pedestrians I saw who had a near miss. But definitely big piece of advice is to watch the game where you can just walk to and fro. Just makes the night that much more kind of simple and straightforward. And it will also save you about 50,000 pesos one way, because getting a taxi, as I said, after the game is almost impossible. Because as we know, countries in Latin America have problems with road traffic accidents. They see a lot of accidents on the roads, etc., with buses, motos, cars. And so that is just amplified after a football match, after everyone's been drinking. People have alcohol in their system. They're making bad decisions. There's no enforcement of kind of non-drink drive policy anyway. And so I reckon a lot of crashes happen, and you do not want to be involved in that. So that is my little 2 cents on the matter. But wow, being in Colombia during the World Cup is an experience. It's like the whole city kind of shuts down on game day. Before game day, you see everyone, even at 9 a.m. in the morning, even though the game is 12 hours later at 9 p.m, wearing their amarillo camisetas, getting in party mode. Everyone's got their flags waving outside the window. I'm not sure how much that is Colombia in the World Cup, or it's like Esperilla winning the presidential election, especially here in Medellín, because someone said Medellín is basically like the Dallas of the US in terms of kind of how conservative and right-wing it is. But yeah, everyone's in party mode in the World Cup. It's great. People drinking a lot, having a great time. There's no like animosity or whatsoever towards foreigners and everything. Everyone's just in a good mood. But yeah, you just have to be careful after the game. Your senses need to be up, especially if you've had a few drinks as well, because the last thing you want to happen is to get into an accident where you're hit by some like drunk driver who's had about 20 guaros in the space of 2 hours and 16 cervecitas. Because funnily enough, even though I don't drink that regularly, just in that environment, in that kind of nightclub party, football on environment, the guaros are free as well. People just kind of pour them into your drink and everything. Well, not into your drink, but they'll give you a little cup and then you kind of have it and they kind of keep filling it up for you, etc. Or at least this has happened in Barrio Sur in Envigado. Yeah, total party mood. But yeah, because of the lack of the public transport, people are not going to take the bus. Buses don't run at that time. The metro is closed. So the only way to get home is by car or by moto. There are a ton of drunk drivers on the road. So be careful, guys, and have a good one.